Welcome to Lights, Camera, Akron, your guide to life in college here on the University of Akron campus.
Coming up on this episode, we take a look back on the election and how it affected us here in college.
We take a look at how students are having fun while making a difference at UA.
We give you a closer look at what it means to be a real DJ and show you some live performances that you don't want to miss.
There's no soccer game tonight. Join us for this episode of Lights, Camera, Akron. Welcome back to Lights, Camera, Akron. You know, I've noticed a lot of faces on campus are getting burly. I love No Shave November. Clearly, this guy does not.
What do you mean? This is almost 3 weeks deep.
Don't worry, DJ. It's all genetics. It's probably, though, the fourth best thing about November. Topping the list has to be the election.
Well, did you vote, AP?
For the election or for the voice?
Let's take a look at students' feelings on voting leading up to the election. Bridget Litton caught up with a few zips to get the scoop.
There's no doubt that college students had a major impact on the 2008 presidential election. To see if they'll show up in record numbers at the polls again this year, we've asked Akron students if they'll be voting for 2012.
I will be in the booth voting and making sure that my voice is heard.
That's pretty important to me. You got to know who's running the country. You know, you don't just want anybody.
I think it's rather important to know our president and have a say in it.
We're young. It's an election that I think is going to change a lot of our lives, really.
Well, this year in particular, I feel it's very important.
It's really two different plans for where the country's going to go.
It's pretty important to me since I'm a college kid.
And for those that did vote in 2008, President Obama earned nearly 2/3 of the young population's vote, an overwhelming figure that led him to being elected. Now the question is, has he done enough to get those votes and earn a second term?
I am definitely voting for President Obama again.
I think he's done a really good job. I think he's a really good president, and I'll be voting for him.
I'm not a big fan of Mitt Romney.
Ron Paul, because he's a beast and he's a man.
I am planning to vote for Mitt Romney because it seems like in the past 4 years, Barack Obama's done nothing but lie, has been a man of all words and no action.
I'm probably going to vote for Obama.
I think people need to give him a little bit of a break and just, give him another 4 years, and hopefully he can still make the changes that he has been making.
We'll see over the next 4 years how the president maintains his relationship with college students. You know, I wouldn't mind seeing him on campus again. I think he owes us a visit, and I'm thinking ice cream.
I wouldn't mind taking him to Swenson's. I'll even drive.
I call shotgun. He seems like he'd be really into singing in the car. I'm thinking maybe lip syncer or maybe a belter. What do you think?
I'm going with lip syncer.
Speaking of which, those who have been on campus made a difference with their lip syncing.
And with that, we bring you this year's Sam's Rock Alike.
Tonight's event is Sam's Rock Alike. It's Students Against Multiple Sclerosis. And basically what we do is we have a ton of people from the res halls and from fraternities and sororities perform to music. So it's kind of like a lip sync. And it's really fun because students get to see their friends and their RAs in a more casual setting doing silly things and dancing. And we also raise a lot of money for a great cause.
The very best, no one ever was. Catch them is mine.
We bring in guest judges. We have an MC this year. It's Michael Yo.
We got South. She like South. We from the South.
I'm not quite sure what everyone has in store, but I've heard that South is bringing the house down. Richie wins something every year, so I'm sure they're going to bring it. They'll be defending a title. And Sigmund New pretty much runs away with at least one award every year, too. So I can't wait to see what they have in store.
It's important to have events like this on campus to raise awareness for diseases like MS, because not a lot of people know what MS is.
MS is an autoimmune deficiency that affects your spinal cord and nerves, so you slowly start losing control of your nerves as time goes on.
I think it's really important for things like this to happen just because since it's a college campus, this is probably the best place you're ever going to get to raise awareness. So it's really cool that we have opportunities like this where we can bring people together for something fun, and we're going to get the word out there. People are going to know about MS, about the problem it presents, and kind of be able to fight it, and it's kind of like you get to have your contribution.
And it's also important because it shows that the University of Akron really cares about people, that we're building a community based around giving and giving to others and building a community in Akron as a whole.
MS isn't something that a lot of people know about, and I feel like being on a college campus, it's really easy to create a sense of community among your peers and all the people you see every day, but you tend to get a little detached from the real world. So it's important to make sure that that bridge still stays there and that everyone can come together to help out someone, you know, in need. People helping people, it's a powerful thing.
That's probably the third best thing that happens in November.
Well, when are you going to finish this list?
Okay, here's number 2. It's this guy named Mark.
Wait, is that your new boyfriend?
No. Mark Elliott. He's this really inspirational speaker that came to the university as part of Disabilities Awareness Week in November, of course. He brought a very powerful message.
What makes you tick? So for the past 4 years, I've been traveling all around the country speaking about tolerance. Like, that's really what my message is all about. Instead of using the word tolerance, I capture my message in the phrase, live and let live. And I use my experience of living with Tourette syndrome for 20 years just to convey how little we know about each other's lives. You know, that when we see someone, I can think something about them, positive or negative, but understand, like, I don't really know what's driving their behavior. And my presentation is a small reminder of that. Now I've also have been able to overcome my Tourette's in the past 2 years. And before I knew it, I had 20 gigs booked around the country. And from those 20 engagements, it went so well, I decided not to go to medical school, and that this is maybe a way that I could help people instead. So in the past 4 years, I've had like around 450 engagements, maybe spoken to about 200,000 people. It's been a really wild, wild journey.
Mark Elliott was so amazing. It was really insightful on how to tolerate people, and it was totally different than what I expected. I thought it'd be more about like his life with Tourette's. I think his message of live and let live, to not think of someone at first at what they do, just like to live your life and like accept people for who they are.
Like, personally, it nailed everything. He gave us a lot of examples of what his life and then what I can reflect on in my life.
The way that I end all my presentations is always with a quote that's an iteration from Plato, and it goes just like this: be kinder than necessary. Everyone is fighting their own battles that you know nothing about.
I really like that quote. You know I'm a sucker for inspirational stuff.
Very cute. When we come back, we'll toss it over to Amanda Ake and mix it up with a guy that you may have never seen, but probably have heard.
First, here's this week's Zip Tip.
If you want to rent great movies but don't want to risk losing your great parking spot, come to the bottom floor at the Student Union. There's this great new thing called Rock U, and you can rent games and movies just starting at $1. So check it out now at the bottom floor of the Student Union, located right next to the game room.